Hyman, Leadership on Demand, Coach John Austin. Let's get into it. Coach, I'm in ATL. You coming live from where?
Houston, Texas, man. Houston, Texas.
Houston, all day. Coach, I had heard you quite a few times on Clubhouse. I think you have, 16,000 followers on Clubhouse. I think like 29,000, almost 30,000 on Instagram. I want to be like
Crazy.
you when I grow up. No, listen, that is crazy.
It's
But
crazy.
I heard you quite a few times on Clubhouse, but I really got to know you, bumped into you on LinkedIn. You were hanging
Mm,
with GI, right? Talking about government contracts on the new social audio app on LinkedIn, right? And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
dude, I was totally intrigued. I'm not sure if you know Laditra White. Laditra White is out of ATL.
Hmm.
I took a Laditra White course on government contracting a few years ago. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, man, really hadn't kind of dug into it the way I should have. But when I heard you and GI talking about government contracting and becoming certified and being bank ready, listen, I think I stayed in that audio room until the end
Yeah.
because you're always dropping gems that you're not going to get just anywhere. Who is Coach John Austin?
Country boy from Louisiana. Uh, Shout out to the boot, man. That's born and raised there in the country. That's just me, right? And businessman, yes. Family man, yes. Shout out to wifey. Shout out to our daughter. Shout out to moms. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out
all
to
the
just
things.
family, man. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
that's me, right? You don't know who I am. That's me. And I say businessman because my on my dad's side and my mom's side, before I knew it was called entrepreneurship, I call putting in work. So
Putting
if
in
I
work.
wasn't
That's what we
pouring
do.
concrete, yeah, yeah. But if I wasn't pouring concrete on a real estate site on my dad's side, I was on a farm picking cotton, sugar cane, cattle,
Wow.
whatever on my mom's side. So,
Picking cotton.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They had a
Picking.
nice farm in Lawtell, Louisiana. Yeah, we got sugar cane on this side, corn over here, the old metal machines where you shucking corn, put it in there. That's
Yeah.
cattle
Yeah.
in the morning, sell corn on the weekend. So yeah, that's me. So the business side of it, it was never really time for money. My mom got into the career thing later as a nurse in healthcare. So I saw both sides of how do you make a dollar? How do you create
Sure.
commerce? So
Sure.
you say, who am I? That's me in a nutshell.
Wow. Wow. You had three core values that I saw in your bio. I believe it was family number one,
Hmm.
it was honesty number two, and it was results number three.
Hmm.
Why are those three clearly family? You just talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to all the queens and family. But why honesty and results along with family? Why are those three core values so important to you?
For a man, for a man, you're based on those that moral compass. And we hear, keep your moral compass here, there, but at the end of the day, if I say I'm gonna be here, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I can't be fibbing to you. I can't lie and say your sweater's blue now, bro, it's red, or I'm gonna do this. It's just a man and how he walks. You walk it like you
You
talk
about
it.
your word.
Let
Yeah.
your yes be yes, your no's be yo's. Yeah. If something happens, say
Yeah.
it, but don't be unintentional.
Yeah.
Say I'm gonna do this, but then behind the scenes something else is going on. That's not good.
Two faces. Two faces.
Yeah, you can't be lukewarm, and that scripture tells us that. Quran and
Absolutely.
the scriptures. Yeah.
Hot or
So
cold. Absolutely. Be one or the
yeah,
other. Yeah.
be and I rather know what I'm rocking with. So for me, I can't be any other way.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go to sleep. All right, that's what I told you. That's what happened. Cool. Results for me is based on that honor.
Mhm.
It's based on that. If I'm going to do this, then the result should be one, two, or three.
Yeah.
Period. And if I'm gonna strive for excellence, I'm not gonna just sit back and just be mediocre. I'm not doing that. I'm very competitive. Always have been. always striving to be. I may not be the number one draft pick, but I'm gonna put you to work. It's gonna be a fight, because I want to be as best I can in
Yeah.
having a company. My clients, I want them to get the best out of me. So when I'm talking, striving, consulting, whatever, I know there's other people out here, and I want them to be able to say, "Yeah, I'm a Coach Austin client. I'm good. I don't want to go over to here. Oh, well, so and so is better than Coach. Let me slide this way."
Yeah.
And I don't want to have that thought process. So results, everything, man.
Yeah.
It's what we're graded on. You know.
Yeah, I have a saying that a lot of people have an exaggerated sense of their own self-importance, right? A lot of times it's because we rate ourselves on our effort and not our performance, not the results. We get paid to produce results, to perform, right? But a lot of times what we speak of are our efforts, coach.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. And you're so true.
You know,
You're so true. Yeah.
17 years of international business development. Like, what the hell? You don't look old enough to be doing something for 17 years internationally. How did you get into international business development?
2007, 2008. I was prior to that. I was working at Baylor College of Medicine as a cancer research coordinator, flipping houses part time. It was cool. I was
Yeah,
good. I was in my little zhush, no problem there, right? Um, the lead doctor comes in, Dr. Helen Heslop, one of the most brilliant minds I've ever been around. She's from New Zealand, went to St. Jude's and came over to the medical center. And I was her analyst. Okay, so long story short, I'm near these brilliant minds. She comes in one day. She's never emotional. Comes in, she got to lay off half the department
wow,
because they bring in foreign doctors, and those foreign doctors can get paid half the salary
right,
that we were doing.
wow, wow.
So
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? I got a kid,
yeah,
right? I got okay. What am I gonna do? The only thing I know is real estate. So I hopped into that. Fast forward into a scenario where I got called in to be a minority developer on a major project, and then I joined the board of directors of a company called NASCO, the North American Super Corridor Coalition. Now they're a nonprofit, but they're massive. And speed forward, long story short, it allowed me to travel with them because they want to green the corridors.
wow.
Every state has its own
Mm,
jurisdictions and ways things happen. And
yeah,
when you go from Texas to here to there, here to there, if goods need to come from Mexico to Manitoba, Canada, they're one of those organizations that help things flow in infrastructure wise, logistics wise throughout the US.
yeah,
So as a developer, I'm on the board of directors at one point, which is really crazy how that even happened. I'm the only black on the group, but it's an international group. So I'm finding myself speaking at a global summit in Quebec, Canada, right? I'm in Monterrey, Mexico. So I'm dealing with international folks because at that level, it's international off the muscle. So I'm
wow.
seeing business done internationally overnight, basically. And I ended up opening up my own accounts
And
in a business.
I'm sorry, you
No, no.
didn't aspire to do that. One thing kind of just led to the
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. I didn't look to do it. It was just to do business at that level. And again, 0809 is a mortgage crisis recession.
Yeah,
So I can't stay where I was because we had to sell off half those properties just to survive. Move my
yeah,
family back to Lafayette, Louisiana. I had to stay in Houston. That was a whole thing.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, this opportunity called me. I'm gonna make it work, whatever it's got to be. And it's just we just drove that thing home, and ultimately opened up accounts in Madrid, Spain. Had an office set up
Wow,
there because there was technology on the green side, on the green commercial side, that was in London and in South Africa and there that we were going to bring here. We had a warehouse in Atlanta that we were storing those. This was called X boards at the time, but it was a recycled paper product to build buildings with. So it really went from zero to that, man, in a span of a couple years. So to see business done in those different areas, understand how business is done overseas and here, it was interesting. It
was that
was
government, private, both?
a little bit of both. It was government being local in that Dallas, Texas area. So you had local developers, you had the city involved. So it was a
Yeah,
public-private partnership, like you may see, right? So you have it wasn't federal per se, but you had federal dollars on the infrastructure piece. There's a thing called inland ports. I don't know if people have ever even looked into it, but you got the Port of Houston, Port here, right?
yeah,
Port of Miami, all that. That's the outer ports. Inside the U.S., you have inland ports. So you've got I-20, I-35, and 45. That's major corridors connecting in one spot. There's
Hmm.
acres of logistical hub. You got Union Pacific Railroad, you've got a commercial airport. All goods come from the outside in. They get put on these 18 wheelers, get put on railways, and get shipped out. So there's a lot of business that goes on in these inland ports, and there's a few across the Sioux City, Iowa. There's one near New York. There's a couple here in the states. So when it comes to real estate and development and logistics, I was in it for a minute.
Award-winning business development strategies. You were awarded a multi-year, like a gigantor contract, right?
Yeah.
Peer review at A&M, and other things, right? Other services that you're providing. To talk about being like, governor of like $1 billion. Crazy.
It started out as a $50 million contract then, and
50
they were
million.
like, "Okay,
That's
well,
still huge.
it is." It's funny. When you get from, I made my first million not long before that, and I didn't even know I made it. I just something just said, "Look at the account." So I'm doing my work, and I look at the account, and I hit all deposits because I'm looking, a lot of stuff's coming in. And it was like 1.5 million. And I'm like, "Damn, that's what $1 million looked like," because I hadn't seen it before, and I was like, "Okay, bet." And we went back to work because it didn't
Yeah.
feel any different because the work had already been done. It was just the clients paid out, and we still had work left to do.
Yeah.
So now I'm building the project. Well, the project was $50 million, but that was people we had to hire, contractors, this, that, and the third. So the 50 million was just the top number to do the work. Now we let the city look at it. The city had to approve it, and the city came back and like, okay, can you do 3 or 4 of these? I'm like, I don't see why not. So 50 million turns into 1.2 billion in a matter of a couple weeks.
Wow.
And it would have probably gotten bigger if we were bigger. We were just too small to handle something that big. So we had to sell out of it. So to see something that grandiose, and honestly, it's really about the numbers and capacity.
It's
That's
about
it.
the
You
number.
can fill a need, and the numbers you can speak to the numbers to make sure you get the job done, and you have a net profit at the end of the day, and you're sustainable long term through that. Yeah, and you hear me talk about it all the time. That's what I mean when I'm saying that. Yeah,
All the time.
yeah, man.
I commend you. I respect you a ton. But I thank you, right? Because you proactively seek out opportunities to be of service, to bring value, right? You talk about the importance of becoming certified as a minority business, and you've helped so many to become certified. You said you had never seen a million, right? You weren't even necessarily striving, but coach, when the opportunity came, you were ready. For people who are looking for the opportunity, because this is what I believe as a consultant and a mentor and a coach. Opportunities come every day, coach. You know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But when they come, we're not ready, coach. You know, we're not ready. How can we fast track the process to get ready? Like, I mean, it's basic stuff in my mind, and I
Hmm.
from a mentorship perspective, to say money is not an issue. Because the
Yeah.
first thing is I can't afford it. No, that's not the truth, right?
True.
Because information is free and it's all around you, right? YouTube is free, right? There are audio books that you don't have to pay nothing for. If you Google it, they're free. Asking
True.
questions is free, coach.
It is. It is.
But
But
dot dot dot.
yeah, I can go on for a minute on this. I'm kind of glad we're having this conversation because, man, context, context. The knowledge is free. It's all over. Make sure we fix the mic for this one.
Put
The
a focus
knowledge
in the
is,
back.
yeah, for real, for real. Balcony and in the front, on the sides. Please listen. Knowledge is free, and YouTube is great. But what do you put into the YouTube, Google, Yahoo Finance, Investopedia search engine to get what answer? Like, what are you looking for?
That's right.
Because again, results, right? So I need search results to give me what I need. So how do I know what to put in to know what to get out? Context. You can Google, oh, you can Google it, but we always hear that on Clubhouse and everywhere else. But how do you know what to put in?
Yeah.
Really, how do you know what to get out? So you have to get around somebody who's doing what you're aspiring to do to figure out what the context is to soften that lens to know where to go. That's I
Call
mean
it niche,
that's
right? Get clear on what you're trying to do and who you're trying to serve, because we tend to think everybody's our customer, coach. And listen, it took me a long time because I
okay.
just wanted to help people. Listen, what do you want to do, Tim? I want to help people. No, what do you want to do? I want to help people, right? Who doesn't need help? And then it was like, listen, if you think everybody's a customer, nobody's a freaking customer.
Say that again.
You coach, you mentor, you have a program. Let's talk about your program.
Bank Ready is now a trademark brand. I don't think we brought up the last time we talked. So we've got a trademark that took a year and a half. Bank Ready, it is what it is. It is what it sounds like. Yes, I'm getting you ready for the bank. I'm also making you bankable for the marketplace because everything's about results, and you can't make money unless the marketplace is asking you a question that you can answer.
Yes.
So, what is that niche? Who are you niching down to? And what does that look like? So, Bank Ready as a business development model, not just business development plans, not just numbers. It's everything so that you can say, okay, I am said business. Here's my target market, my target audience. Here's how I niche. Here's how I drive revenue. Here's my break even. Here's how I'm sustainable. 5-year plan. Let's go. That's Bank Ready in and of itself, from a legal perspective, from an accounting perspective, logistical operations, all of it in one. Buying an existing business, government procurement contracting, public and private contracting, really doing business to business, business to government. What does all that look like in one? The mindset of it all, that's Bank Ready, because I can't leave one thing out.
Bank Ready. Listen, that's the most important piece of information I believe that you can get as you close out 2022 and prepare for 2023, right? Get Bank Ready. The one thing that I've heard you now repeatedly mention is buying businesses. We were in a conversation recently, and you said something that triggered. I don't know. It just made all the sense in the world after you said it. It was like, yeah, when you talked about getting the history, right? You get the history when you just purchase a business versus trying to start from scratch. It made a ton of sense. I think we assume that it's expensive. When I did do some research and saw, wow, like I saw the minimum amount versus the largest amount and everything in between, right?
Mhm.
So again, man, thank you, right, for what you do. I think to make the world a better place. And so and that's from my perspective. But that said, from your perspective, like, what are you doing to make the world a better place in your mind?
When I first started out in business, when I saw my grandparents went through what I see, what how this country was built on the backs of our ancestors, and how they always had to struggle to get there. Or when we got there, the Oklahoma bombings and all these kind of things. So it's like, how do we get in the matrix and
Yeah,
work from within the system so that they can't blow up their own system,
yeah,
right? And I watched the movie The Matrix, and it's so synonymous to how I try to operate in business. So whatever's available to us, certifications, which we don't use often, we need to do more of that. Being more business acumen minded, you don't have to have a PhD. You just have to follow the rules of the game. And for me, if I can get enough of us in the spaces I'm already in, no cap, I'm in these spaces. I try to document
yes,
that. I'm very new to social media. I've only been on for 2 years, 2.5 years on IG. So I'm new to that arena. So I'm seeing that even more so. I'm seeing the struggle. I hear the struggle in my consultations. So for me to make it better, don't fight up the hill.
yeah,
There's already a seat prepared for you over here. Just do this, this, and this. and sit down and then listen for what your creative brain is going to tell you the answer is. And
Yeah.
I teach you what to even listen for. So for me to make the world a better place, we're fighting a battle over here we shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah.
Let's get over here. Let me be a bridge to a better place and let our natural melanin flow, right? It'll take care of so much because we're fighting and we're wasting time where we shouldn't. And it's
Yeah.
not the coach way, it's just the way it works, right? That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do.
Flow. Like let it flow. Make it. We make simple things extremely complicated, right? We go around in circles when we can just get with people who are already doing it. What you just said is that you're already at the table, right? And you're willing to sponsor and help people to get at the table. But the bottom line is we got to be willing to invest in ourselves, right? You got to be willing to invest in yourself. You know what you're trying to do. Connect with coach, right? Because this government contracting world is an interesting world, right? I mean, I've done enough to say interesting, but it's so much paperwork and things you got to submit and you got to read and understand, right? And that it make you be like, okay, I need to make sure I get with the right people. Which is why when you all were talking about it, I was intrigued. I know you guys were the right people. So again, shout out to GI and certainly shout out to you, Coach. What has been the biggest mistake? Because in the midst of all of the prosperity and the goodness we've talked about, there has been some humanistic bumps along the way, some extreme failures, right? At least in your mind, maybe not as big as they were, right? I mean, if you thought they were, but at least in your mind,
Yeah.
what has been the biggest mistake, and how did you rectify it? That you can share.
And I've actually fell prey to this year. Moving too fast,
Mm,
not settling down incrementally, checking yourself out, making sure your processes are good. And I
yeah,
teach this because I've learned from it.
yeah,
When you move fast, you don't dot all the I's correctly and cross all the T's correctly. You miss things, and the devil is in the details. The devil's sitting there and can bite you if you don't watch those details. And some people are like, well, coach, I can't see everything. Well, that's fine because the number two mistake is having the wrong team around you.
God,
We hire based on either I know you, like you, we cool like that. Uh, that's my homie. Da da da. I got to take you with me. Based, we should hire based on the task at hand and who is qualified to handle it. So I can hold you accountable to get that done because I got to go over here. I can't do everything. So I need to have an accountability system in place, which I didn't have twice. And it bit me because I assumed this was going on and it wasn't. And when you run in the ship, you can't always see everything.
yeah,
And when I come back to ask the questions, you can lie to me, honesty. You can lie to me, and I'm gonna take your answer because it looks like it's okay. Because
right,
I'm on the bigger picture. I'm trying to land the shark over
yeah.
here.
And people know how to
And
put on. They know how to put on.
ooh, bro,
Yeah,
do they?
yeah,
Yeah. So now you'll hear me on Clubhouse. I can smell it and hear it a mile away. Now you about that BS? No, no, no. And I'll ask certain questions, and you listen for the answer.
yeah.
If it's a stutter and inflection or whatever, no, 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 no. Because honestly, honesty flows. You said let it
Absolutely.
flow.
Yeah,
Honesty flows. You can ask me whatever. So I know those two things have hurt me dearly. I've lost a lot of money, and you got to take the hit because they don't care that your associate messed up. Now, why you let that happen? Your
yeah,
name's on the dotted line. So those two things, man, is it's been what has hurt me. And I'll even say when you're marrying someone or your partner, they gotta be you gotta be succinct, man, because that person's gotta have your back. You got to be able to look left and right. That's got to be somebody you can ride with, man. It's got to be that way. If
yeah,
not,
yeah.
can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Coach, you just I was having a conversation just today, um, along the lines of being aligned. A little different though. But I think for me, it leads to a phrase popped in my head as you talked about making sure you have the right partner. But I think
Hmm.
in relationships, period, not just intimate marriage, significant other, but I think even with family relationships, friend relationships, it's all relationships.
Yes.
You want them all to have your back. They all need to have your back, or there's no purpose,
Hmm.
right? Um, and family is family. You can't really, but you can deal with them accordingly,
Hmm.
specifically if they don't have your back.
True.
And I think vice versa.
Hmm.
But what came to me to fast forward to the point is for someone like yourself who has become extremely successful,
Hmm.
have you experienced what is called survivor's remorse?
All the time.
Can you talk about survivor's remorse? And I'm not talking about the television show,
I know you're talking about.
right? I
Yeah.
know you know,
Yeah.
but I want the audience to know what someone described to me earlier was a feeling with a family member, right? That brought about a lot of guilt,
Hmm.
and we went down the path of neurolinguistics. I'm a neurolinguistic practitioner, right? And so to me, just picking up in the conversation, it was like you feel guilty. So went down the questioning path, and I identified it was like, okay, if I go out to eat, I feel like I can't go back home, without bringing someone something back. Or if I go out to eat and enjoy dinner, I feel bad, right, that the person is not with me. Now, it's not a significant other, it's a family member. And what came to me immediately was survivor's remorse, right? And I think anytime you level up, anytime you are trying to strive for more, and you are in the zone of others who are not, you said relationships must be, I'm bringing it back,
Hmm.
aligned, right? They got to be. You didn't say equally yoked, but equally yoked. Survivor's remorse. Let's talk about it from your perspective, because I would think that you have experienced it.
I have. I don't anymore. And I'm gonna say this as real as I can because people need to hear this part. Um, there are phases when you're succeeding in life or trying to accomplish X goal. Um, that people are either going to help you along the way or they're going to be anchor weights and hold you down.
Anchor waits and hold you down.
Yeah, because either you help me or you hurt me.
That's right.
Now, if you're neutral and you're on the sidelines, you're applauding me, or you just doing life and you're not hindering me. Okay, I respect that. I feel that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I really feel that's what we need to let family be family. Just I was born and raised with you. We cousins. We fam. We cool. Nice. Business is different.
Very
So
different.
I can't let Pookie be my business manager just because that's my boy. I'm gonna ride with it. Now, yes, Braun did that, but old boy was ready. He was cool. That worked for him and for some. But for the majority of us, we get burned by letting people do jobs they're not qualified for. So back to the remorse part. Yes, at times I did. I would go home. I'm in Houston. I go back to Louisiana, meet. I'm rolling up in the night's whip. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. Got money in the bank, whatever. And the conversations with my cousins are different,
Yeah.
or with friends are different. I
Yeah.
don't come back for this anniversary or that or that. I don't rock on Facebook like everybody. I'm just different. That was me then. I'm different now. So I did feel some type of way. But after a while, when you get burned and you are struggling, I didn't get the phone call from you when I was down and out flipping payday loans and eating tuna. You wasn't worrying about me then.
Yeah.
So come back with that same energy right now when I'm successful,
Yeah.
right? When I called you for help and you didn't, now I'm successful. So the remorse goes away the longer you stay in the game because now I'm good.
Yeah.
Married, wife, kids, we straight, house on the lake, golf course, I'm good. And I'm still grinding and still working. So I don't have remorse at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
My success, the pains, ups and downs, I don't have remorse whatsoever because I did try to involve them, and for whatever reason, there was some no's or whatever. So we picked our life trajectory paths, and we are where we are based on our results. the honesty that we have, and the work that we put in. So
That's right.
don't hate on me because I'm successful, because I worked very, very hard to get here. So do I have remorse now? Not a lit, not
Yeah.
a bit. But I have felt it. I get it. And I would tell people, one life lesson to have: when you're striving up the ladder, try to bring as many as you can with you that can help you. So when you are holding them accountable in the heat of the moment, it's okay,
Yeah.
because it's your life, it's your vision, it's your path, not theirs. But offer help to them. Hey, I see you trying to make that move, or look, here's some game, try this, try that. But you keep doing what you do, because you can't bring everybody with you, nor should you. That's their mission, their life. Help them if you can, but don't be remorseful for your own success.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for weighing in on that. It truly came, um, and I think, just reflecting back on the conversation today, it was fresh. But I don't think I've ever had a discussion in which I identified during the conversation survivor's remorse. But it was clearly that, as I've experienced it even myself. You talked about bringing people along with you is extremely important. I heard something not too long ago, and I don't want to miss. I want to give credit to the quote. I can't remember who said it, so forgive me for not giving you credit for the quote. But it was, leadership, we often can say, is a lonely place. I'm paraphrasing. We've heard that. You've heard that, right? I've said it. Leadership can be a lonely place. That's why you have to build community in my mind, right? But it was, if leadership is a lonely place, you did a piss poor job of bringing people along with you, right? I thought that was a powerful, you know, statement, because I totally agree. Leadership doesn't have to be a lonely place,
Mhm.
and we do have, I think, a certain level of responsibility to try to disrupt people's thought processes in order to bring them along. But what I'm speaking for myself, what I can't do is wrestle with you for your own success. But
Can't
how
do.
important is team for you, coach? Because I think you said it. You know your capacity. You could take on and take on and take on, but you're gonna crash and burn if the volume doesn't match the capacity. How important is team building and teamwork?
I mean, it's there is no growth without team. Period.
Period.
If you're in certain industries, you may be like the lone salesman, but you got to build a client base. So there's some team aspect of that. There's levels where you're the main guy and you may have four or five under you that's growing your network. If you're in a more traditional business set, there's an organizational chart where you're this Tim Cook, Wozniak, da 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 da, right? Um, Jobs, however that's falling. You've got, say, Elon Musk is here. Who says somebody's got to be an anchor somewhere? So in the business entrepreneurship, and that's probably a large part of the population listening, legal, accounting, support staff, who does what where? You do what? What's your strength? What's your SWOT? What's your sweet spot? And
Yeah.
whatever you don't do, please find somebody who you can anchor on to help you in the areas that you're not strong at. So their superpower join with yours. It's like not Batman and Robin, Batman, Batman, if you will, if you will. So
Facts.
team is everything. You've got to build. You're the general manager. You need your number one draft picks. You got to build a team so that the mission flows through you into the team. Because when you empower the team, doing it with my team now, it's amazing what they'll do with the mission once you give them the task. They'll
Yeah.
run with it,
And let
and I
it
can
go.
let it go.
Let back off.
Take the hands off the wheel and let. And that's I've done this year. Kendra started with her and Daria and Siobhan and Suzanne and the analysts and the team and the legal trade, all that. Once I got my hand off the wheel, because we have trust issues. Because if I give it to you, will you accomplish it? Because I've been
That's right.
burned. I'm kind of I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So here, and then to hold somebody accountable, let them ride with it, and then let them come back and tell you, what did you think about that? What's your thought? Let's build, and just be quiet,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you what you want to hear, and then you create a SOP around all of that, and now you're like, okay, this is bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
keep going. And that's what a leader should do. And that's why it shouldn't be too lonely. It's lonely, I'll say this, when you're in those quiet moments of conjuring up thought of what's next, because you can't bounce it off everybody all the time. So you need somebody else kind of like you or like us, like minded. We can, throw some things off each other with. Get quiet. Okay, God, this is what you want me to do. Tread forward.
What was the catalyst to allowing you to let it go? Because we hold it close to our chest for a variety of reasons,
Hmm.
right? But what was that thing that was like, okay, I have to let my baby go.
I've learned from, again, I've done this before. I had a nervous breakdown once. I remember sitting down eating dinner, and I remember going from just eating to feeling nauseous to feeling lightheaded to having to put a towel in my mouth. My teeth were chattering that hard.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, is this it? Like I felt heart racing. And the doc was like, what do you do? Told him, hey, bro, you got to slow down. If you weren't as healthy as you are, you could have stroked out. Like that's too much tension in your body. Slow down.
Yeah.
I felt that coming probably right before COVID hit. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get the right team because we're going to grow. COVID's here, it's digital. Ooh, okay, speed. So let me build it and give it away enough to where they can help me grow. So the people around me help me because they say, you know what, I know who you need. I know who you need because I can confide in a few.
Right.
And they no cap, no issues. They're like, no, we building together. So you build your team isn't always your immediate team. So I had colleagues I can go to that helped me. We help each other build that team. So I didn't mind giving it away. It was hard, but I know I had to do it. So it was just a matter of how I did it. So learn behavior. I knew what would happen if I didn't, and I can't grow. I know how much money I want to make. I know what kind of impact I need to make. So I gotta get the foundation built. I need the team to do their thing so I can say, here, y'all run. I got to be over here in Atlanta or whatever and be comfortable that y'all got the client handle when they text bank ready to a certain number. Darius got this, Siobhan's got that. We meet once a week, once a month, whatever. We good. The system's got to work. I can't worry about this stuff. And if I look at the email, why didn't y'all answer this? Da, da, da. Oh, we got it. And then you build and refine the system. So over time, you live and learn,
Yeah.
but you got to let it go. You can't hold on to it if you think you're going to run. You can't do this by yourself. It's
You can't
impossible.
do it by yourself. And
No.
we try. We try to do it by ourselves.
True,
Um,
true, true. We try.
Teamwork makes the dream work. You got to hold yourself accountable to delegating and letting it go. You just heard it from Coach John Austin, literally the $1 billion man. This is the money man. If you are in Houston, right, and you're looking for some thorough coaching, some thorough leadership, or some support, right, from the Small Business Development Center, right, as well as SBA partnerships. Let's talk about the fact that you do real commercial lending. But the question I had that I saw, coach, was what is business purpose funding?
You're starting a landscaping service. Let's just say that. Say you want to buy a landscaping service and bring it on. It's for the purpose of acquiring that business. It's for tractors, trailers, weed eaters, whatever, equipment, payroll, operating costs for the business. So if you say I have a business that's grossing $1 million in revenue, and I want to scale it to another 2, 3 employees, I want to acquire these assets to help me grow that business. I need X amount of dollars, which will generate me X amount of revenue. That's business purpose funding. Because if not, it's retail or commercial lending. I
Okay.
need a personal loan to fix the house. I need a personal loan to buy a car, a bike, headphones, whatever, right? That's personal. And you've got the business purpose funding. So you want to make sure that your business has a plan and a strategy and a structure so that you can go to the bank or specific commercial business purpose lenders who lend for that type of thing.
And you help businesses not just understand that, but to become bank ready to be able to get whatever it is that they're looking for to meet their needs.
Exactly. I'll give you a good example, a real world example. If I walk into the Greater Houston Procurement Forum right now and Capital One Bank is sitting there, She would come from behind the counter, give me a handshake hug, and she would bring me at least two clients. That's her average now. She'll bring me two clients, say, "Hey, talk to him,"
Yeah.
because and we had she and I have talked already. I won't put her name out because I know Capital One. I can't endorse anything, but the business banker there, she'll bring me. She's done it in the middle of me having conversations with people. She's like, "Hey, stand next to him when he's done talking. Talk to him,"
Yeah.
because she's already told me what I can't do. I need you to get him ready for. So she's in Capital One has already approved how we do business. So bankers don't just do that out of the blue. So when it comes to bank ready, multiple banks, credit unions, CDFIs understand our process, and they know once we're done with them and I say, "Hey, they're ready,"
Hmm.
they're good because they understand. I understand the underwriting criteria that's needed. And this is lending, this is grants, this is business opportunities, but specifically for banking, yes.
So, what's the website people can tap into to learn more about the services, programs, information, right? That they can use to help them to grow. Any coaching services they're looking for, coach.
TheCoachAustin.com. THE CoachAustin.com.
What is Coach John Austin reading these days, or what's in your ear, in your Audible?
Art of War.
Audible.
If I was to pull it up for you right now, let me see if I
Yeah,
can find it. I'm gonna be real with you. In my Audible, listen to Art of War. I was flying from uh, Atlanta here, and Art of War is on. I think I'm on chapter 7. Um, Outwitting the Devil. I'm going back over 40
yeah,
Laws of
absolutely.
Power again. Yeah, that's an old school one. Yeah,
Yeah,
Art of War in
absolutely.
the Audible. Yeah, chapter
Yeah,
7.
yeah.
Um,
And the
what am
48
I?
laws. I mean, those are three gems right there that you can always refer back to for life skills, right?
And this is
Was
an oldie but goodie. Everything
you know what?
economics book.
I think I have something that's a smaller version of that
Hmm.
right there. But yeah, it's those men. Those are all like Bibles.
Powernomics, yeah. Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm putting those two together.
Yeah,
Um, Money Master the Game, Tony Robbins. I got a stack over here. So I got books kind of sitting everywhere depending on how I'm reading, what I'm doing.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a multitude of things going on. You got to keep feeding that mind, man. That's one thing we don't do enough of. And with contracting, I want to see in government contracting, just in business in general, you got to read, man. You got to read to stay up on game. Got to.
What's the greatest lesson that you would share with your younger self? Because I'm sure there's a ton of lessons, but what's the overarching, coach? Because listen, bro, like it's amazing, right?
Mhm.
For me, right? Someone on the outside looking in, it's like a dream come true, right? I mean, you're a giant, and many of us just really want to be like you when we grow up. But the reality is, you're saying, listen, you can get in the game, you can do this too, right?
Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self about this game right now and how to get in right now?
What I would tell myself is make the people around you work as hard as you. Don't give it to them too easy. You may want to help people, but you're
Wow,
really, in a sense, hurting people and hurting you more because you're not making them work hard enough for it. I would make them dog eat it.
it's
I
coddling.
because I ain't.
We,
Oh
we,
God, yeah, yeah,
we coddle, don't we?
way too much. Even now, even on
Yeah.
Clubhouse, allowing people to just sit in the audience for whatever, just to listen to you for free. I ain't doing it
Well,
no
yeah,
more.
those are the laggards a lot of times, right? And
Mhm.
I'm not talking about necessarily folks on stage, although there
No,
might
no,
be
no, no.
a few there as well, right? But people, they want to hear, they want to write, they want to take notes, they want to listen, but they're never going to take action, coach. That's what I've realized, right? Because the action takers are going to get on stage, raise their hand, share what's going on, ask questions, right? But they're going to use their voice. And so my feedback is always, listen, get clear, and then get comfortable trying to get some attention. Because if you can't get no attention and share with people what you're doing, you're not going to become successful. If
Yeah.
nobody knows you have a product or a service, how you gonna sell it?
Even in the real world, meaning outside of an app, if you're too afraid to come on an audio app where I can't even see you to talk to you, how are you going to stand at a table with a
Absolutely.
program director who wants to write you a check,
Yeah.
who wants to give you free game, but you're afraid to talk?
Yeah.
Then this isn't for you.
Yeah.
But if you got out of that fear and saw that that's just a that's it's like my auntie, my uncle, our cousins, they're people too.
Absolutely.
They live oftentimes vicariously through what we do. They look forward to seeing me and others come to these meetings and we can commemorate and have time. And it gets past. I met with the Port of Houston, perfect example. We went from a professional conversation to a relatable conversation to I found out she's a Delta. We did this, that, the third. We ended up having lunch. So I'm sitting with University of Houston, Port of Houston, right? Real estate developers, Minority Supplier Development Council, legal. It was, but it was just chopping it up. We said Papados, just chopping it up. But
Yeah.
those relationships in a matter of a
People.
day, it's a wrap. So when I send an email, the email context is very professional, but I know I'm good because I built that relationship. They can trust me because now other people in the room are seeing you, and now you're like, oh yeah, I remember you from last time. Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. So man, that's it. That's the sauce. So I would tell myself, my younger self, network a lot more. Hold relationships, hold them business cards a lot more. Send them presents, gifts, birthdays. I would do that way better.
Wow.
So if I had them 15-year relationships now,
Yeah. Yeah.
you think I'll be killing it right now. I would.
Relationships, relationships, relationships. Building, cultivating, being intentional, calling people just to say hi, not just calling people when you need something, sending gifts, remembering babies' names, remembering anniversaries, right? The things that don't cost us nothing, right? Collaboration and partnerships is the new currency.
Yeah.
Relationships, relationships, relationships. Coach, bro, I respect you more than you could ever believe.
I
I know
appreciate it.
you're a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. You talked about them deltas, but I want to make sure that we give all respect, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Community, teamwork, accountability, leadership, leadership, leadership. This is the leadership podcast, and everything you talked about at the core of it, the foundation of it is leadership. But why is leadership so important, coach? Because listen, why do I focus on it? I focus on leadership because to me, leadership sucks right now. It sucks, bro. And I don't want to talk about the fact that it's horrible. I'm not negative.
Hmm.
So, I want to keep a high vibration. So I want to be the change I want to see. I want to promote leaders who
Hmm.
not just talking about it, right? But who clearly doing it.
Hmm.
Those who out here doing it, grinding it out. Coach, why is leadership so important for our future and the next generation?
Right now, you got a lot of people following trends. Trends fade. They happen, they go, they're cyclical, but do they take the culture to another level? There's things going on in the news that people have an opinion on when it comes to Dion or whatever, and they're following and not setting and leading the charge for what's better for the culture at large. Um, Leaders can follow too, though, but leaders follow
You need to
strategically.
be able to follow.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll follow whomever's got a right mind and can
Yes,
take my vision to another level and help
absolutely.
me. So we'll all leaders always help each other. That's one thing we do. And I am, and it's funny to even say that I'm a leader, but I'm like a mix of Malcolm, Martin, Garvey, um, and that
Powerful.
warrior, yeah, and that warrior class that came out of, say, Northern Africa with the Moors and invaded Spain. I've got a little mix of all of that in me because I know that look, I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And if I just sit back and wait to be led, then I'm just kind of like here. waiting.
Yeah.
Because if you're following, you're waiting for the leader to say, "Hey, go here," and then you follow. And that's not me. I'm blazing a trail on purpose because I can't wait for somebody else to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I've never not been that way though. So if that is what a leader is and call it, that's okay. That's me.
Oh, that's
And
you.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I'm listening to the ancestors. I feel it. I know where we got to go. I can see what Martin was talking about. I've seen the promised land. I've seen a version of that myself. I see what it looks like to be in these rooms and know that if you just follow this path, success and the wealth that we want is already there. So I just reverse engineer that bad boy and say, just follow the path, y'all. And it starts up here. It starts with the way you think and the way you see things. And I don't like the way the way that society teaches mindsets. Respectfully, is a bunch of BS. Your mindset changes when you get in the game. Period.
Yeah.
So your mindset can't change in the class and in a yoga setting and all this other. No, that's part of it. That's part of it.
OJT, baby. OJT.
Man, you got to get under that weight and squat for the muscles to grow. Period. I can't. Yeah, you got to get on the field and get hit a couple times to make that bad boy work.
Yeah.
4th and 1 ain't happening when you just sitting back figuring it out.
Right.
So your mind changes in the act of doing. So yeah, leadership sucks now because nobody's doing. Everybody's
just talking, coach. Listen, this was so good. This was so good. 17 years of international business development. If you want to go to the next level, first of all, you need to get into these rooms where he dropping all this sauce for free on Clubhouse. Right, you got to follow him on all of his platforms so that you can get the juice. Right, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's LinkedIn. Follow the coach, tap in, be willing to invest in yourself. Be willing to invest in yourself as an ally, as a mentor, as a sponsor. What I know is we will invest in a lot of things. We'll invest in Gucci belts. We'll invest in Louis Vuitton. But we don't know nothing about the Moors. See, he mentioned the Moors. That went right over your damn head. And it is not Moore. That's not how you spell it. He ain't talking about them Moors next door. Okay? Listen, level up. Pay less attention to this designer stuff where these people doing crazy stuff and they don't like you. But that's a whole different podcast, coach.
We need to have it though. We need to have it.
I appreciate you, brother.
I can go there. I can go there if you want to. I can go there.
We got to keep it real about us, bro.
Yeah, we do. When you got 9 DNA strands and everybody else got 6, we'll leave that. We'll leave that there.
Oh, MG, coach. Hey, coach, we got to do a room. We got to do a room. We got to get you into a full Clubhouse room, and I saw you just did that with the Black Think Tank. I missed that. I'm back and listen to the replay. Got to get you into a Leadership on Demand room in addition to this because there's so much to talk about. Hey, bro, we love you. We love all the value you bring, the enrichment that you're doing for the culture, for the kingdom. Coach John Austin, everybody. Hey, much love, much respect, brother.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.